Welcome to the Porn Reboot podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Amazi, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode.
Today, we're going to be talking about scaling your business. This one's for the business owners, for the entrepreneurs, and the stages of rebooting. Now, I'm excited about this one because we have quite a few business owners who listen to this podcast. I'm going to go straight into it. If you're new to this, what I'm doing is I'm doing a series called The Stages of Rebooting as it relates to success. And I talk about the things I've observed and I've personally experienced to observe from clients over the past 12 years, working with men who are ending their out-of-control behavior. And hopefully, this can not only help you identify where you are in your reboot, but it can also give you clarity as to how to get out of this problem or deal with an issue that you're having in life. Now, here's the first thing I want to make very clear for those of you who run a business. You need people. I'll say it again. You need people to grow big. You need human beings. Now, I own multiple businesses, but the thing that I have passion for is Porn Reboot. It's elevated recovery. And there is no way that we would be where we are today if I did not have people. As I'm recording this podcast, there are simultaneously multiple meetings with clients, multiple group sessions that are going on, and they are being run by the human beings of elevated recovery. Not me. I'm not in there. They are the ones doing it. Men who have rebooted are doing it. They're having conversations with people. They're planning for what they're going to do. They're having meetings on people's accountability partners. They're planning content. They're editing videos. They're having meetings about so many things, about the next retreat, where we're going to be going. They're looking at the websites. They're doing research on what is happening in the industry, what's happening with pornography. All of this is happening on this weekday. You need people if you want to scale your business. I know there are people out there who tell you, oh, you can run a one-person business and be very successful. And don't get me wrong, you can do that. But if something were to happen to you, God forbid, touch wood, I'm touching my money plant right now, it's next to me. If something were to happen to you, all of that would dry up in short order, and your family would not be able to sustain themselves, perhaps in the lifestyle that they're used to. So let's get into it. What happens when you are scaling your business and you are in the early stage of your reboot? What is happening to you? Well, one of the main things I found from working with clients who are in the early stage of their reboot and trying to scale their business is that their primary mindset, and again, I'm just going straight to the main thing, primary mindset is that they are constantly remembering that everybody that they have trusted has let them down. I'll say it again. Every time you've trusted somebody in your business, they've let you down. And so you start believing that you have to do everything on your own. I have to check my own email. I have to post on Instagram. I have to respond to all the messages on Instagram. I have to take my own pictures, do my own graphics, build my own website. Why? Because you can't trust people. People are going to fuck up your clients. They're going to say the wrong things to them. Customers are going to be responded to in the wrong way. They're going to mail out the wrong information. They're going to do this. They're going to steal my money. They're going to do all of those things. It is absolutely normal for that emotional state that you're in your early reboots. You are not trusting. Because why would you be? You don't even trust yourself. In the middle reboot, what I have noticed, again, going to the core of the issue when it comes to rebooting and scaling your business, you are stuck on working to eliminate your dependency on employees. I notice this all the time. I'll see somebody will get a bunch of employees or get some team members or get a VA or get an assistant, get a partner, and then they just hit this stage where they're just like, you know what? Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. I'm not making more money. I'm not used to this. I'm paying this person too much. And then they quickly buy into the idea that they have to become a one-man show, that they have to stay small. It's just too costly to grow. We don't have the money. We can't pay back the loan that we took to start this business. Well, this is also synonymous, interestingly enough. It matches with the middle reboot. The middle reboot is the longer stage of your reboot. It's the stage where you may be stuck in one or two areas that you haven't figured out as you try to get your lifestyle together. And as a result of that, it is also the stage where a lot of men are most likely to drop out of the rebooting process. So when you are in this stage, the stage where you, let's say in your business, you have to hire more people. You need to get better at learning how to hire. You have to get better at learning how to manage your time so you can train people, so you can build relationships with them, so you can train them to be leaders, so you can review the work that you have delegated to them and make sure that they are doing it right. You don't do that shit. Just as you won't do what is necessary to stop yourself from slipping in that same way every 7 days. Same thing. What happens in the late stage? In the late stage, it's a little bit better as it is with rebooting. What I've noticed for men who are scaling their business is I see more control over key activities. So there's a little bit more control over, you're able to say, okay, you know what? These are where my strengths lie. I am good at sales and I'm good at marketing, or I'm good at fulfillment, like customer fulfillment, and I'm good at the scaling part. I'm good at the money and I'm good at high-level strategy. I'm good at being in front of clients and I'm good at product development. You're able to identify the things that are important to you, but you're also able to identify the things that are critical to help your business grow. You also start taking more responsibility and thus more control over results in your company. You're no longer blaming the economy, that crappy employee, your client base, your customers. You're starting to take full responsibility. So you are beginning to mature as a business owner who is scaling. Because when you choose to scale your business and you choose to grow it, you are in for not just an external growth period, you're in for an internal growth period. And a lot of business owners who want to scale get stuck because they get stuck internally when they run up against those strong emotions that they have not dealt with for years. You haven't dealt with those emotions. You've been using pornography to escape them. And now it's time for you to grow your business and you can't because you're not ready to deal with those emotions. God, I could go so deep into this, but it's either you get it or you don't. If you get it, you need to talk to us. We are the only ones when it comes to business that can actually explain to you how your out of control behavior is impacting your business. And if you're stuck in scaling, oh, I'm at 200K a month. I don't know how to get from 200 to 400K. I'm at 20K a month. I know how to get from 20 to 50K. I'll point out to you where you're at with your behavior and how you're stuck. Well, I can also teach people how to scale their businesses depending on the type of business it is because we've scaled multiple businesses. But my main thing is I'm not an expert at your business. I can point out if and where your behavior is holding you back. Finally, we have the maintenance stage. Oh, this is beautiful. So what happens in the maintenance stage is obviously this reflects what's happening with your behavior as well. You've already, in your personal life, in your emotional life, in your sexual life, you've identified the things that work for you. You've set up the right boundaries. You have the right values and standards. You've worked on different areas of your reboot capital. You have certain non-negotiables in place that are customized to you. You know what works for you. You have the right accountability. You have a way to measure your reboot baseline. You're in a really good place. You have a helicopter view of your life and where you're at. And similarly, you're going to have the same in your business. Your business is usually fully delegated, or it is on the way to being fully delegated, and it is growing on its own. I'll say it again. It's fully delegated and it is growing on its own. You don't need to be there for it to grow. I'm not talking about it is self-managing and it is functioning on its own. No, even if you're not there for a week, you have individuals who have your DNA in them. And I don't mean that in a gross way. They have your entrepreneurial DNA embedded in them through the professional training that you've given them, through the time you've spent with them to delegate, through the care you have shown to them, through the plan you've made with them to show them that as your business succeeds, they will succeed as well in one way or the other. And thus your organization keeps growing. It is a beautiful place to be. And yes, I have firsthand seen this reflected in my clients. I have seen clients who are stuck at various stages of business. In fact, if there was any in this series, when it comes to the stages of rebooting, if there was any part of this that just smoothly was like, you're just like, man, this mirrors this stage of the reboot so accurately, it would be in scaling your business. And the reason why is because it takes time to scale your business. It takes years in some cases. It often takes about 2 years to get things chugging on average, because it takes a while to just implement different things. But that's about the time it takes for you to rewire your brain. So it's been a beautiful thing to watch people whose businesses have actually stagnated for quite a long time. They think they're doing okay, but they've been stuck at like 1.5, 1.1. They've been stuck at 5 million. They've been stuck at 200,000. They've been stuck at $100 and something thousand for years and years and years. And suddenly it starts taking off because the things that they are learning about themselves in their reboot and the skills they're learning are internally transferable to their business, even with their employees. When people in your life start saying like, hey man, you're a little bit different, you're a lot more vulnerable, you're communicating in a different way, you're being very open and honest. Again, I said at the beginning that you need people to scale, and you're working with other human beings. They start feeling that energy from you. They start feeling safer around you emotionally. They have psychological safety to stay in your organization. And people have psychological safety need to have that to even be in an accountability group where they talk about their slips and relapses. So you begin to pick that up in the sessions in Porn Reboot. You're like, oh, how are the therapists? How is JK? How are all these people keeping me safe? How do they communicate with me? How do they call me out in a firm but loving way? How do they remind me? How do they check me when I get apathetic? How do they help me out when I get demotivated? How do they help me out and support me and put me back on path when I am lost? How do they explain things to me using metaphors and analogies? You are now able to bring that back to your organization and scale it. Oh my God. It is mwah. It's chef's kiss. It's beautiful if you can master it. Again, would love to hear from you as you're going through this series. Send me an email. In the subject line, just put podcast, jkemezi@elevatedrecovery.org. My assistant is going to put it in a special folder. I want to hear from you. I want to talk to you. I want to communicate with you. I want to find out if you find this relatable. Thank you.
I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out-of-control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org, or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way is if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.